Hi everyone, I'm Christy Bagalow, Director of Statewide Training at Florida Legal Services. I'm glad you could join us this afternoon for the first session of our Tech Tuesdays webinars. And I really appreciate our presenters today being my guinea pigs or pioneers. That sounds like a nicer way to put it, right? For this Tech Tuesdays presentation. So they will be teaching us all sorts of stuff about social media, being hired during a pandemic when everyone's working remotely, and hopefully we'll also have time to talk about pro bono clinics at the end. It is being recorded, and I definitely want to thank the public interest law section of the Florida Bar for co-sponsoring this and expediting our CLE credits. So I'll put the CLE information info in the chat box at the end. And during the webinar, you can enter your questions in the chat box, and I'll be monitoring that. We'll try to take a few pauses in between the sections of the presentations to answer questions, as long as we're not running out of time. At the end, we are going to do breakout rooms, just as a very informal way to network, kind of like you would back in the good old days if you were going to an in-person CLE. So that's optional. You can either log off at the end or join us for the breakout rooms. We'll just do like a 5-minute break at the end of the webinar. And then whoever wants to join the breakout rooms is welcome to do that. I think that's all my announcements. I just want to welcome everyone, and this is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of the recording in an email tomorrow from Zoom. And you can always email me with any questions or if you don't receive the recording. So our presenters today are Michelle Wargo from Community Legal Services in Mid-Florida, Michelle Boyer from Community Legal Services in Mid-Florida, and Alicia Herwood from Coast to Coast Legal Aid. So I really appreciate them being our Tech Tuesdays pioneers, and I'm going to let Michelle Wargo take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first Tech Tuesday. I'm Michelle Wargo. I'm with Community Legal Services Mid-Florida, as they just said. And we're going to start by talking about hiring during COVID. So I actually started with CLSMF 7 days before we shut down to go virtual. So I had 3 days of training and then 4 days of meetings. And there you go. We were completely virtual. So it was definitely a different kind of environment, but once I got into it, I mean, we were go, 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 because being in the communications department, that was what we were about. We had to tell the people that we have closed our offices due to COVID, but we are still available virtually. How do we do that? All of the different processes. Before I got there, our Facebook page had strangely been deleted. So we had to start a new Facebook page. We had to start new social media. We had to start growing our following all over again from zero. And this started on like March 12th because I started on like March 9th. So then while we're going through that, I'm having meetings with the CEO and the interim CEO because we were also in a time of transition. And I said, I need to bring in somebody that I know can handle this and help me grow our social following. And that's how we hired Michelle Boyer in the middle of the pandemic. So Michelle, do you want to speak a little bit about how you joined us and how odd that was?
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. So starting a new job starting a new job at any point in time is always nerve-wracking. You never know what exactly you're walking into, but definitely starting in the middle of the pandemic is a whole nother level when it comes to nerves. I was very thankful that thankfully I already knew Michelle from prior work experiences, so I at least had that going. But interviewing during a pandemic, especially when you're working remote, it's try to find a quiet place in your home, try to get the pets to be under control, and still just be yourself, still just be as professional as you are in regular interviews. Of course, still dress appropriately, still make sure you brush your hair, brush your teeth, all the normal things.
Well, didn't you had panel interviews too? So that was another thing that was different, is that by being in the world of COVID, we had to, we had what, 4 or 5 people in your interview?
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 or something like that, which was definitely different because especially you can connect with people in person a lot easier than you can online. But one of the
Definitely.
biggest things just starting in the pandemic, I mean, we had all the trainings remote. So the nice thing with that actually was, since I had all of our documents electronically, I could go back and review it at any time without feeling like I needed to walk down the hall and ask for it. But the biggest thing is just any questions you have, still reach out to whoever your supervisor is or whoever HR is, anybody that's kind of in charge that will have the answers, because they want you to succeed just as badly as you do. Especially with everything going on, the last thing on their mind is that
Did
they
you get
don't.
the policy, the
Yeah,
handbook?
exactly. Exactly. So whatever questions you have, just reach out to the people there, because they want you to succeed and they want everything to be as well as positive as it can be right now.
Mhm. So yeah, reaching our own people is hard enough during a pandemic, and then, reaching out to clients, that's why we're all here. So I don't know, does Alicia talk now?
Yes, Alicia talks now.
Because I feel like the Michelles have taken over.
Yeah. I'm really happy to be with you, both of you Michelles, meeting you virtually recently. And I really enjoy hearing your perspective on it, of getting hired or just having started in a pandemic. I'm kind of on the other side of it because I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Coast to Coast, and I'm on the hiring side of it. And since March, when we had closed our offices, we've hired nearly 10 people for different types of services within our office. So when we shifted to remote, there were a lot of issues, as you can imagine. We had to shift to remote work. Everyone was getting used to using Teams and not being around each other, making sure we had technology available for everyone to be able to do their jobs. And the other part is that we didn't have a real reduction in the number of clients who needed our help. And in some areas, we actually saw an increase in clients to be served. So it just became more and more difficult as we were hiring people to cover the needs of our clients, but also to be able to have that time to train new staff. And we wanted to figure out a way to not just automate it and make it not personal, but get some of the groundwork laid for the new people coming in, so that their supervisors would be able to work on the more substantive areas to help them. So what we worked on with our information systems manager, Corrine Lincoln, she worked on SharePoint. So she created a SharePoint site, kind of started the first one playing around with it. And then she teaches me, and the two of us kind of went crazy. Started building out all these sites, and we're like, oh, this is super fun, but a little bit tech nerd, I will admit to
That's
it.
what Jorge and I did on our side, yeah.
Yeah, you get that way. Once you kind of get in that rabbit hole, you just kind of keep going. So we did that. We also had one of our former interns that was taking the bar, Eddie Brandt. He was with our office at the time before he started his full-time job. And so we were all kind of working on it, building out these SharePoints. So we created them for the trainings using what we already had with Office 365. And I'll just briefly show you kind of what they are, so everyone has an idea of what I'm talking about, because not everyone's used SharePoint for it. So I'll start here. This is our onboarding site where any new hires go to view our training video. So we use Legal Servers, our case management system. We do videos adding documents to Legal Server, intake in Legal Server, LSC regulations. Of course, this is going to spin while I'm scrolling, but it's adding time, LSC regulations. Any of those are in there so that when someone comes in, they can watch these, get that basic information, and they can then ask their supervisors more specific questions rather than, I don't know what to do. So they have this available to them. The other piece that we added, we have our phone system because we switched phone systems in the middle of the pandemic as well. So we have training videos on, many of those things. I don't want to scroll too fast, anybody get dizzy. The other is we did a legal training for it. So these have videos for CLEs that are available, and also through PLI that I go through and find ones that related to COVID, for example. So these are at the top, so you don't have to go into PLI and search all of them. These are available. I mean, it really just works like a website. It's super easy, with creating it and putting it in there and making it look, really how you want it to look. And then just a fun part I'll briefly mention is the created a news and events. So anytime someone in our office was being interviewed, whether it was the newspaper that ended up being posted online or the actual like news media on television, we post those there because not everyone can watch them or know that they're on or something like that. So we have them available in that way.
I have a question. When you do that, do you get a notification? Because we've set it up for different pages that if somebody posts something, then you get an email to all staff that says so-and-so updated this. Do you guys have that set so people can see it? Or do you, like, how do you interact with the pages on SharePoint?
So we have it linked in with our Teams for it. So the notifications are there. So then when you're in Teams, you can see kind of what's going on there. So you'll get an alert, and you can, depending on who you are, maybe like a lot of alerts, or maybe you just want to check it at your own discretion, you'll kind of set it up. So everyone's been able to really utilize it that way. We're looking to expand it quite a bit more because we've seen the benefits that staff aren't spending that extra time on the trainings. They really get that baseline. It's also been a refresher for existing staff. If they're like, oh wait, I forgot how to do this, that's available for them. Just to really kind of practice it out. The other thing, I'm not sure if you guys are using it, Michelle, we use Microsoft Teams all the time. We have our weekly unit meetings, our case reviews, our staff meetings, just really that interaction because we're not face-to-face anymore. But being able to have that time kind of together and say, hey, how are you doing? You know, hey, what's going on? And give other updates that everyone needs.
We need to move to Teams more often, but right now we're using mainly Zoom and we use Skype for Business, which will become Teams. So that's why they're trying to merge us into Teams to get more familiar with it. But that's a struggle in itself. That's a discussion for another day.
When you're using Teams, like I said, we have our all CCLA team for everyone that's within the organization. And then from there, it links straight into SharePoint. And within SharePoint, it has the documents that were added to Teams. You get alert when new things are added. So it's really been handy to have those two mesh together and be able to utilize them for everybody.
That's very cool. That's you guys are one step ahead of us. So I will be turning to you for advice on how to get everyone on board.
So I think Christy wanted us to see about questions after this part. I don't know if there were any.
We don't have any questions yet, so if you want to go ahead and move on to social media, that is good.
I'll turn it over to you, Michelle and Michelle.
Well, I'm going to hand it to Michelle Boyer first because she is our social media specialist and she knows how to play with all the fun social media applications.
And it's definitely fun to play with, and you can definitely lose a lot of time immersing yourself in it. So before I start sharing my screen, just to give you guys a brief overview, we are active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Business, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much all of the main social media sites, and we do post regularly. I tend to focus heavily on Facebook and LinkedIn though, as that seems to be our target audience where they are the most often, especially for pro bono lawyers. They tend to use LinkedIn a lot to get their information. And then of course, everybody is still on Facebook, and especially when you're trying to reach parents, if you have education, stuff like that, they're the ones that are going to be on Facebook. So I will go ahead and share my screen here. And I will give that a second to load because I know my internet. So this is our Facebook page. So we do try to post regularly here. So we had, for example, the flyers that you all received about this event today. One of the things I like to do is we do happy birthday and happy anniversary posts for our staff and our lawyers, just to show that they do matter to us. We do appreciate every single person that works with us, and we want them to be featured. We want to make sure that people can put names to faces and that they do realize that our people are important to us. We don't want to just be another faceless entity, basically. So we post regularly. We do things for different features. We do boosted posts. We link our videos from our YouTube page to Facebook and LinkedIn also. So this is just what we're doing on Facebook. We even have, if you're looking at ways to engage your own staff, especially when working remote, one of the things we did is we actually created a private group on our Facebook page just for our employees. That way they can stay connected with each other. They can share things that maybe they want posted publicly. We can share things to them, etc. So the other one is we do a lot on LinkedIn also. And it's the same kind of information. So for both Facebook and LinkedIn, I tend to post the professional things. I use Twitter and Instagram more for kind of the fun, get out into the community type deals. So for example, we'll post like little quotes that engage with people. We do the anniversary and birthday posts here as well. It's important to keep posting regularly, especially during a situation like this where people might not necessarily know that you are still open, you are still helping people. So having a regular presence lets people know that, okay, they are still open, they are still available, we can still call them at, well, during their normal hours, of course. The other thing that I try to stay on top of is anytime somebody messages, respond to it quickly. One of the things on Facebook actually is that it does say how often or how quickly they typically respond. You want it to be within a day or less. That way people know that, hey, we are monitoring this and you can get the help you need. Even if it's a standard response saying that we can't provide legal advice over Facebook, please call our helpline. Just something so that people know you are there and that they are reaching a real person. Now, one of the things I also do, because we have different departments that handle the different legal areas, I use a scheduling service called SocialBee. That way I can manage all the different campaigns we do, and you can schedule it out weeks, days, months in advance. That way you can keep it regularly posted without having to remember every day, oh, I need post A on this, I need post B on Twitter, I need post C on LinkedIn. You could schedule it out and kind of put it to the back of your mind almost. And the nice thing with SocialBee is you can do evergreen categories where it just keeps repeating the posts. So if you have a list of like videos, for example, put them all into the same category, listed as evergreen, and it has a little option right on there. And it'll just keep posting them. So it posts indefinitely. You say what days you want it scheduled. If you want it on Wednesdays, for example, it'll just keep posting at that time until you turn it off. And then for creating posts, I like to use Canva because it's very easy to use. You can create specific dimensions. So if you want Instagram, for example, you want a flyer, you want a Facebook post, all of these have different recommended dimensions. And of course, you could make them fit for anything, but it's nice to already have it preset. That way you could just go in and put the information where you want it. So that's mainly what I do for Facebook and LinkedIn. Michelle, do you want to talk about our YouTube?
Yes, but I was going to ask you to touch a little bit on, because when you were scrolling, we saw a boosted post. Some people may not understand what the difference is and how to do it. So if you could maybe talk a little bit about that.
Of course. So boosted posts are, and actually let me find where it is. There it is. So boosted posts are ads, essentially. It's when you take a normal Facebook post that you've done and then you throw some money behind it. So the nice thing with doing that is it gets in front of more people rather than just the people who liked your page. So when you go in, and we're just going to we'll do this one for example. I just won't actually boost it. But the nice thing you can do is you can add a button here. So you can say if you want to learn more, shop now if you happen to be a business that is selling something specifically. You can have a link that it goes to. But the main thing that I really like for this is that you can determine your audience. So they have standard options and people you choose where you can go in, you could say, okay, I want people ages 25 to 55 within a 10-mile radius or whatever your demographics happen to be. You can also target it to people who like your page, people who like your page and their friends. And then of course, since for us we are law, attorneys in our service area, which we've already predetermined on our Facebook page. So then you can also put in how long you want your duration to be. So if you want it to be a week, a month, in the case that this one is trying to do 27 days, for example, try to get it through the end of the month. And then you can put in how much money you want to do also. The great thing with this also is that it estimates how many people you're going to reach per day. And that also will change depending on what you choose for the targeting as well. So the more
And the
money
pricing.
and the pricing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the more money you put in, the more likely you are to reach more people, all that kind of stuff.
Now,
when you,
oh, go ahead.
I was just
Can I
gonna
ask a
say,
question?
and I might be answering your question. Now, when you go to boost it, it's not going to automatically be approved because Facebook does have to review it and make sure it doesn't violate any of their policies. So depending on what you're offering, that can be challenging. If you're trying to get people to come join you as in work for you or do pro bono services for you, for example, Facebook is tightening the reins on that one because there's so many people that advertise services that are a scam. So now Facebook is kind of auto rejecting those ones almost. So
Mhm.
it could be tricky. You may have to go in and reword things. So just be prepared for that aspect of just because you boost it doesn't mean it's going to go through right away, but Facebook does usually takes about 24 to 48 hours for them to get back to you on if it's been approved or not.
I will add to that we have a fair housing campaign that we are getting ready to launch, and Facebook does have not really perimeters, but they block you from targeting people. Like if you wanted to target people with low incomes who are, don't have stable home environments, you can no longer do that. Facebook will flag you right away. So you have to figure out a salesperson at Facebook that you can talk to and really make it work. So there's a lot, like, how it says ads for credit, employment, and housing offers, learn more. You can see it right there on Michelle's screen. Because now it's a separate category because they don't, again, like she said, some people were doing some shady business practices, people got taken advantage of. So now there are a lot more steps that you have to go through when you are trying to launch a paid campaign, or even if you do a regular ad that isn't, they may flag it. Like if you're not throwing any money behind it anyways, they may flag it. So
And the
watch
other
out
thing
for.
I have to laugh with Facebook, and we encountered it a couple months ago when I first started doing boosted posts, is I went with their suggested category of attorneys in CLSMF service area. So you would think by clicking that, that would mean it's going to be approved. I was denied because it was too targeted, even though I went with one of their suggested targets. So
Facebook's
just because,
fun.
yeah, so just because they suggest it doesn't always mean it's going to work. So with Facebook, be prepared for anything and just be flexible. Don't be rigid in what you want your campaign to be because odds are it's not going to be exactly what you wanted. Come up
Yeah.
with contingencies and about 5 different plans that you could go through.
Well, and there's another thing too, Michelle, since you're showing your screen, if you want to show events, I know we're talking a lot about, outreach in the time of COVID. So events that you would normally have in person, and you would promote with an event page. Now you can promote with an event page just virtually. So you would have to put your virtual link in there, but you can see, yeah, we have some boosted events there. Or that one's not boosted, but it's asking us if we want to. So
Yes.
the virtual healthcare planning that we have ongoing, that's for anyone that is a essential worker who needs healthcare documentation taken care of. But again, this is another way that you can go about reaching people, is through the events tab or creating an event or tagging an event. And then if you use MailChimp, you can have your email go out with that event and the link to buy, like if you have a ticket or if you need to register, all of the things work really nicely together. Anybody have any questions on that before I jump into anything?
We did have one question come in. Someone was wondering if you've done any paid reach on LinkedIn.
I have not personally as of yet. It is part of our plan moving forward. Right now, we've just been doing Facebook for different grant requirements, but it is in the plan moving forward. We just haven't gotten to it yet.
In my last position, we did some paid LinkedIn for an event that we were putting on. LinkedIn is different in the way that they do it, though. They are a completely different entity. I know we like to consider them social media, but the way that they structure their things is really different. So if you are thinking about doing some paid advertising in LinkedIn, you probably want to work with someone at LinkedIn on getting that campaign set up the first time, and then you can just go in and adjust it, because they are more expensive, but they are more targeted. They are, their frequency is less, but again, it's more targeted.
You're
They
going
don't
to have a
have,
more professional reach as well. It
they don't
really
have
depends on
the
audience you want.
they don't have the blocks that Facebook has. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a different thing. But I guess now I'll show my screen. So talking about social media and the things that we are doing on social media. Let's see, which screen do I want to share? This one, okay. So this is our YouTube page. And with YouTube, I have created, well, I don't create these on YouTube, but through YouTube, we are highlighting different videos that I have created that we post on social media. So if right now evictions is a big deal. So we made a video. You won't be able to hear the audio, I don't believe, but it's just background music, because when people are scrolling, their eyes go to video. People are more likely to retain what they see in a video than they are what they read in a text. So we've sort of combined them together in these little 30-second videos that we share on our social pages. You can, super quick, easy.
And the nice thing is also is that we have all of our social media tied to each other. So for example, whenever Michelle creates videos and then uploads them to YouTube, I then take those links and share them onto our social sites, and we'll do even shorter clips than this onto our Instagram, for example, as little teaser videos. So we have all of our social sites going to each other. That way it's all one huge marketing campaign.
Exactly. And then the great thing about YouTube is that YouTube is now owned by Google. So if you're using a YouTube link, it becomes searchable. It helps your search engine. Same thing with people now use YouTube as a search engine instead of Google. So they are more likely to find you just because you posted a video on YouTube than if you didn't. So even if you don't have anything that you think is worth posting, I recommend posting. We also do videos like the webinar that we're in right now. If our different units have put on different webinars, we will post those, and then we'll embed those and then send out the link, so you can keep it as a private link, or rather an unlisted link, so people can, only the people that you share the link with can have access to it. So it's something that we're trying to integrate into our website. Some of our pages have that, but they just launched this website really before I came on board. So I started in March, and this new website started in January, and we're still building it out. And then we had to do this whole fun thing because of Corona. So this was all changed. This is all in the first like 5 days that I was there. So good times. So for coronavirus, we created a new landing page of coronavirus information. And then here we have our coronavirus resources page. Now this was a thing that, you know, for the first 2 or 3 months, every day we were making adjustments to it. With our little different drop downs, what's open in my area, social security offices, you know, different benefits. And this is where we see the most traffic right now, is the common legal issues related to COVID. So if you are dealing with unemployment, we embedded the video that I made for social media. We also embedded different flyers that we got. And then you can, if you click on it, it makes it bigger. And just simple things for people to find what they're looking for. This is our #1 link, is check your availability. Check your eligibility. Give us a call. You want to make sure that on your website you have all of the ways that people can get in touch with you, especially now. But again, you know, foreclosures, this keeps being updated. Last update we did was on the 1st. You know, it's just tips for homeowners. Again, a video. This one I didn't make, but again, you know, it's very important to keep video wherever you can, because people are way more likely to watch a video than they are to read an article. But if they want to read an article, you can click on a link and read an article. Any questions?
Everyone's being so quiet today. I think you're just
I know.
mesmerizing them with all
I'm
this
just
technology. But I have a question. What do you use to create those fun little videos?
Oh, so some of them I create in a program called Lumen 5. It's lumen5.com, and they basically provide you with the free video clips and pictures without, you pay them, then you don't have to pay for the rights, if that makes sense. And it's super easy, super easy. I also use Adobe Premiere for other videos that involve people talking or that need editing or need graphics or need the higher end stuff. For your quick hits, you can use something like Lumen 5 or Rocket.io. I'll show you their little website. Maybe. Yeah, so you can just drag and drop your content into videos. And then we just started making, still playing with a couple different programs to make animated videos. A lot of people like Doodly, but Doodly has some not so great reviews. So I'm testing out some other ones. But they come, it's kind of like Canva. It comes with some pre-made templates for you. And you just plug in what you want. You can search for, like if you're doing a real estate video, you can search for real estate videos and images, and you drag them into what you're putting. You can change the colors. You can put your watermark in the corner. I really love it.
Okay.
It's one of the easiest things that I've found.
And I definitely want to give Alicia a chance to show us the Coast to Coast social media.
Okay. Well, I learned a lot there, I have to say. So thank you, Michelle, both of you. So our page, we pretty much didn't have a large following whenever we came on. It just wasn't a pretty limited use of social media that we had. So we've made a real effort to expand that, but it's still something obviously we're working on. I mean, I think as both of them just explained, anything with social media, you just have to be frequent. You have to be consistent, you know, in providing the material and things that people are interested in. One of the issues that faced us whenever we went remote was that we still had requirements under LSC and other grants to continue outreach. We still had clients that had a high need for getting legal information, but we weren't able to go out and see them. No one was coming to our office. You know, we were under state and county restrictions, you know, in South Florida, plus the safety, you know, for our clients and our staff. We were trying to work out a way to do it. So we had a couple of different steps that we took. The first is what is kind of labeled our virtual clinic series. And these are client-facing legal information clinics that were on hot topics. So in total, from April to June, we had 5 clinics, about 2 per month, but in July, after having that many, we actually didn't have any in July. And the way that those were done is they're hosted on Zoom, kind of like where we are now, through a Zoom Pro account. And then it's launched to Facebook Live. So when you're on Zoom, you can launch to Facebook Live, you can launch to YouTube, you know, kind of depending on what you want to do from that Zoom Pro account. And the next step was finding a community partner to be the host for our clinic with the questions that were prearranged, ones that were coming into that agency, ones that were coming into our office, through our attorneys who knew like what needs the clients were having when, you know, when they're calling in. And in the clinic, the host from that partner agency would ask questions. So I don't want to say talk show, but kind of the same idea, question and answer. It wasn't a lecture. It wasn't one person talking the whole time. It wasn't, you know, PowerPoints and that sort of information. So we tried to keep it because, again, it's on Facebook Live. You need to keep people engaged. And they're not going to be engaged if they're watching a PowerPoint or hearing just one person talk. And the other piece that we have is whoever's kind of the tech in the background, which is sometimes me, sometimes it's other people, is those questions are in the Facebook Live in the chat. They're added into the chat in Zoom so that the host can read those questions and then pose those to the attorneys as well. So there is an interaction that way, even though the community isn't in the Zoom link with everyone, but they're watching it on Facebook Live. Our first one was a collaboration as part of our Rainbow Justice Project. That is between Legal Aid of Broward County and Coast to Coast. And we had to adjust that with COVID because that entire project was based on doing outreach and clinics in the community. Obviously that wasn't happening, so we switched that to virtual. And what we did is we picked the hottest one that was in April, was housing and consumer, with everything that came out with the CARES Act, with everything that was coming out, you know, within our state. Our partner was the Pride Center Equality Park here in Broward County. And we all promoted it on social media, particularly on Facebook. There was a radio interview. Other agencies that were watching were also promoting it. And in that, we provided clients a contact email and phone number for how to reach our office in order to review their civil legal issue. I'm going to share my screen just to kind of show the, I'm not going to play the whole video for it. Wait, let's see. Switch over here to the right one. There we go. Okay, wait, I didn't do that right. Sorry. Sorry, my fault. Okay. Share. The two screens sometimes get at me. Okay, so here we have the clinic, and just excuse that my face is plopped right here in the middle as being a part of it. But in that we had 23, it shows here like 2,353 views. Now that's since we had it in April. That's not accounting for any unique views or the 3-second views of people that are going through Facebook that have the autoplay on and it automatically starts and they just keep scrolling. So we had to come up with a formula from the Facebook insights that show you, okay, we're going to use this insight. We're going to take out any of the duplicate views. So you only look at the unique views. Then we're going to take out the 3-second scrolls, you know, to take down the number so that it wasn't just, oh, we had 2,353 people, which is a great number, you know, just in the views. But at the same time, again, we wanted to be as accurate as we possibly could using the Facebook insights. And that's really comes with seeing what happens on your page, looking at it, seeing what's consistently over time. And Facebook has a lot of analytics with it. So looking through that to see it is really helpful. If you're going to do any type of Facebook videos where you want to see how many people you're reaching. The second example I'll show you, and there's going to be a lot of videos when I go here. Let's see with this page. So this is kind of a landing for all of our videos that are here. But this one was our virtual clinic where our partner was Hispanic Unity. This particular video or clinic was completely in Spanish. All the questions, all the answers, introduction with it. Hispanic Unity was a great partner for us. And that one had, again, 1.4 thousand views. When you start to eliminate those, you know, the number does come down, but it's still, you know, a large reach for it, for who we were able to reach in the community, particularly our populations that may be limited English proficiency. And in that clinic was, again, housing rights, because that is such a huge topic, estate planning and COVID, and domestic violence injunctions. And what I should have mentioned at the start is that we also were really fortunate because we had pro bono attorneys who gave their time after hours to be a part of these clinics and host and be with one of our staff members and go through all of it. So we were very fortunate that way to have them giving their time back to the community and back to our office to be able to give that legal information. We had others that related to unemployment and disability rights in COVID, family law and domestic violence in COVID, seniors and caregiver rights and advanced directives. And you'll kind of see these kind of as I go along. And we have an upcoming one that's actually next week that's on immigration. And that's another collaboration on the Rainbow Justice Project with Legal Aid Service of Broward County, where our attorneys are going to be discussing immigration issues overall and in times of COVID with it. So we're pretty excited about that. So just anybody, I'll go ahead and promote it right now. If anybody's watching, just go over to our Facebook page and it's going to be launched on there and a few other Facebook pages, you know, to increase our reach. The other thing, I'll stay on this page because they kind of pop up. Our name that we came up with was Fridays with Friends, because we wanted to have an opportunity to reach our community and talk about what we were doing in COVID, but also have what their services were, because not every place was open. Other places had shifted to different types of service. So we were trying to get that information into the community. So one of those was an outreach with community partners where, I mean, you'll see my face on here a lot, but a lot of our attorneys in our office would have someone at another organization that they would have on and discuss it. So one of them we had was Meals on Wheels. So the director of our senior law project, Tatiana, would talk with them about what the senior services were. And then the director of Meals on Wheels would talk about how they're providing services, how to reach them, if they were open, if you had to go to their website, all of that information that we would normally be providing in our regular outreaches, we're now providing them in a virtual format and trying to keep it fun and engaging as well. Because again, everybody just talking, we're showing your PowerPoint, it's not, as interesting. So you have to keep the content real and engaging for everyone. We did one that was a pet edition. So we had people from coast to coast and from Legal Aid in Broward who had their pets on, and it was our Fridays with Friends pet edition, which was really fun because everyone got to brag about, who their other co-workers basically, because our pets are, in our houses with us during all of this. So that was a fun kind of different thing to do with it, but it's all super easy. We end up kind of the same as what Michelle, both of them were talking about, is putting that content then on YouTube for it. So we have it there, but our YouTube is primarily being used kind of as a holding site for all of our material. It hasn't really been built out. The one piece I will say that we have done is we created a pro bono training series, but it's a virtual training series. And what these are, and you'll see here, kind of the list, is these trainings are for pro bono attorneys. They've been approved for CLE credits in Florida, and the attorneys can watch them at home. Obviously, they're easy. You just one click, you're on YouTube. The links are provided by us to the attorneys whenever they're going to take cases for our office. So it provides them CLE credits and the continuing legal education opportunity, and it helps us to have clients that are going to be assisted by these pro bono attorneys. Again, that's a collaboration that we do with Coast to Coast and Legal Aid Service of Broward County. This is just one playlist. I didn't go through the whole page to show all of them because that gets to be kind of a lot of content. So I just picked the playlist page here to share with you. There is another landing page that we have that is for our Rainbow Justice Project, and it has 33.5 credit hours for pro bono attorneys that are taking cases to help with civil legal needs of the LGBTQ community. So the same type of incentive for it, with attorneys getting the CLE credits, but also for us to be able to provide them those trainings that are done through our office and other community members to give them that education, and then give back to the community and help us out as well for all the clients that come in. Sorry. Okay. I don't know if there are any questions.
Still
I
no.
have something to add.
Go ahead.
With the YouTube, if you, I was going to share my screen again, but it doesn't matter. When you're trying to build up your YouTube followers, like we just passed 100 followers. So you have to, people are afraid to subscribe to pages for some reason because you can subscribe without getting notifications. So if you have everyone in your law firm subscribe to your page, and they don't want your notifications, just turn off the notifications. But the magic about hitting 100 is that that is the number that YouTube now allows you to make a custom URL. So instead of it being youtube.com/x12173 ? It's youtube.com/community legal services of mid-Florida. So you want to try to get to 100 at least, and then it's a lot easier for you to promote your page because we just like this week past that milestone. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that when you're like, why can't I name this page? Because you have to have 100 subscribers.
Yeah, we don't have any. Ours are all kind of the hidden ones that they only get there when we send it out, but that's great information. I didn't know that about the 100 followers.
Yeah, and then you're supposed to be allowed to customize further, but so far I have not been able to make it a very pretty page because they've taken away some of the things that you used to be able to do. Custom skins, and a skin is like an overlay on the page that you can make it match your website. So I'm still trying to get real nerdy with it and make it happen.
That's good to know. I'm learning so much today. We did have one question come in. I think this person was referring to Alicia's videos that are posted, and they were wondering if the CLE presentations are password protected on your YouTube site.
They're with the link, so only if we send out the link to someone are they able to access them. So you can't go on YouTube and search for it. With it, you have to have the embedded link that we send out with it.
Okay, great. And we do have a few more minutes, Alicia, if you wanted to talk more about the online trainings that you have for pro bono attorneys.
Okay, so that was a little bit what I was showing there. With it were those trainings that we did for the pro bono attorneys, that we have them on YouTube. And we also linked that back. So what I showed SharePoint earlier, anything that's on Facebook and on YouTube, we've added to our SharePoint site, so that staff that aren't on Facebook or may not want to use YouTube or any number of reasons, they can always access it on SharePoint and see it, and it plays within the SharePoint site itself from the link. So we've made it easier for staff to be able to access it because not everyone has Facebook. I mean, it seems kind of strange, you know, in these times, but really there's still a lot of people that don't have social media. So we try to make it easier for them that way. The one thing I will do just a quick share is our website. Our development team has been working on our website in the midst of COVID. It hasn't launched yet, so we'll just call it a sneak peek that I'll give today. I did get permission before I did it. So I'm going to do a quick share just to show you where we're coming here. It's our new homepage here that kind of talks about who we are, what we do, getting involved. There is the notice for COVID, for which I'll click in just a minute. Who we are, what we do, applying for help. This is also going to be where we add our online intake once that fully launches. It's in stages for it. So once we have that, but kind of all of this is being built out to make it more user-friendly, make it, I think it's very pretty, just for an easy word for it, but kind of clicking through all of these links, and hopefully it's going to be launched pretty soon. The other, like we have our notice regarding coronavirus, where we're located, and actually lists all of the contact and units for legal aid and for coast to coast. We put all of them there just in case someone lands on our page instead of the legal aid page, that they know if they're in Broward, who they need to contact with their civil legal need. And then of course we have our CCLA at a glance about our family law unit, our senior law unit, and our economic advocacy and community health unit. So we have all of those there. We'll start building out our blog, our media room, and other information is being done through our development team. That's not me. I've done some edits and anything that they've asked me to help with, but this is something that they're really building out, and we're really happy with everything that they're doing with it, and we can't wait till it's launched. And we'll have to promote that on Facebook once it gets going, but that's our site there.
I think it looks great.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, it's been nice. We're going to start putting some of our infographics that we've created on there. Just a lot of other information, really trying to build it out, kind of like what you guys were talking about with putting the videos on there. There's a lot of ideas for it. We just got to get the first step to the launch, and then we can build it out more from there.
Very cool. I can show you one of the things that they did on our website, and I think it's still active if I share the screen. They wanted it to be very user-friendly, so once you get to the website, you can get help easily. So there are questions that it will take you through, and I don't know if because I am who I am, I'm not getting that. But there is a way, one of these links will pop up a question saying, do you live in one of these counties? And it'll lead you through how to get to public benefits. So I guess because I'm already in the website, I can't show you how to do that, but it basically pops up like a survey and lets you answer these questions to find out what you need. So if you were looking for SNAP benefits after a disaster, you would answer 2 or 3 pages, and then it would take you to this landing page. So that's something different and unique that this website provides for people who really don't know what they're looking for. You know, if you come to a website and you don't know what to look for, this sort of helps you get through that. And then again, we have some COVID-19 related flyers that we upload for people. But I was really hoping that that would work and I could show you that and it would be really cool, but it didn't. Sorry.
That's okay. It was worth a try. We believe you. It's on there somewhere.
Try it on your own, clsmf.org.
Here we
There you
go.
go.
We've got a couple minutes if anyone wants to type in questions. And before I forget, I do want to give everyone the CLE information. I typed it in the chat box, but the CLE number is 4116, and it's approved for 1 general and 1 technology credit. So again, I really appreciate Alicia, Michelle, and Michelle sharing their expertise with us today. If everyone's going to be shy and not ask questions, I just have a curmudgeonly question, which I'm sure is on some people's minds who are not tech whizzes like all of you. Is it like, tell me why it's worth it to spend all this time doing social media stuff? Like, what's your plug for why we should all really hop on board with this? Save the tough one for the end.
I'll say one part for us. One, I think it's fun. But the other piece is really that we're still required to do our outreach under our grants. And this was one of the few ways that we were able to meet those requirements and get into the community. So despite the part that, again, I just think it's kind of fun and engaging and showing that lawyers aren't always stuffy, that it's something to get out there, you know, and making sure that also that the community knows that legal service providers are there, that we're doing things that are new, that are innovative, and not kind of sticking to kind of the old stuff. I think that that's a really big part of it. And one of the things that I really love about, you know, doing it and learning stuff, we've made these infographics that I find just fascinating. One, because I'm looking at legal information, I'm talking to people about legal rights, and then creating it in a visual way to really show people, okay, this is the information of kind of what you need to know with it. It's something I forgot to show, so just indulge me for 1 second. This is one of them that we created, was the Living Will Power of Attorney Healthcare Surrogate, that things you need to know, distinguishing between the, you know, the notaries, kind of those things that, I mean, it doesn't tell you how to do one, but it's questions that people end up asking, you know, what are these? So we've kind of created different ones of these. This one was preparing and responding to hurricanes. I mean, there's plenty of emergency notices out there about what information you should be preparing, you know, and saving, how to prepare your home, but it's not always things that lawyers are telling their clients, you know, make sure you do this, make sure you're talking to your landlord, make sure you take pictures, you know, those sort of things. So just creating these and making them into the format, and we put them on Facebook, you know, and put those out there, attach them to the videos, but just keeping the community engaged, that there are things that are going on and things that you need to be doing. And
those are cute.
Yeah, thanks. But, you know, learning just to do those was fun. But again, getting them out there on social media and getting that information out there in a time when so many people are at home or so many people are needing help is really the part, just from my answer, separate from my fun answer.
I would say that it's important to reach people where they are. And like you just mentioned, you know, a lot of people are home. So they're on social media, they're scrolling through Facebook, they're scrolling through LinkedIn to try and maybe find a job or find information about what's going on in the community. So that's why I think it's important for us to promote our services on the various different social media platforms, because different people are on different platforms. Like Michelle said, she does different campaigns for Instagram and Twitter than she does for Facebook and LinkedIn, because you have different demographics of people using each of those. Like, we don't do TikTok because we're not after 12-year-olds, but if we were, we would.
Please
Right?
no.
I saw your eyes get so big. You're like, did you just
No.
put me in charge of TikTok?
No, that's not part of my job description.
It's okay. I'll make the embarrassing videos on TikTok.
Cool.
You just have to post them.
I can do that. So the other thing I'll add also is, in addition to people searching for information, more people are on their phones because frankly, they're bored. I mean, we can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. We can't be in large gatherings still. So people are looking for ways to entertain themselves. And one of the things that for the last, 5, 6+ years, people do get on their phones and scroll, especially with Instagram now, Facebook, all of those. So the more you can post, the more you can get out there, the better the chances are that somebody's going to see you. And even if they don't need you right then, it used to be that it was like somebody had to see you 7 times before they made a decision to call you. Now that number is up to more like 13 to 14. So even though they might not call you when they first see you, odds are that if they see you enough, your name is going to stick in their mind, so that if they need help or if they have a friend that needs help, that's when they're going to remember you.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not only 7 touch points now, it's 13 times that people have to see you on different media streams to remember that you exist. So it's just getting harder because there's so much stuff being flooded into our eyeballs every day.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for all these creative ways to stay in touch with both coworkers and the community during the seemingly never-ending pandemic. We did have a couple questions come in. Someone asked if there are any concerns about people believing they have an attorney-client relationship simply because they submit a request for information through social media. So I saw Michelle did reply to that. That they make sure to state in their replies that we cannot give out legal information over social media and directions online.
And I actually, because I saw the question too, so I have it pulled up. Our response automatically on Facebook for this, if you message us, is thanks for messaging us. We will reply as soon as possible. Please note that we cannot take requests for services or provide legal advice via Facebook. So
Yeah.
that goes to them automatically, in addition to how they can actually contact us. And then if it is something where I end up responding to them, all I end up saying is, here's the online intake form, here's our phone number, please keep trying to reach us.
Yeah, we do the same, Michelle. Any of the messages that come in on Facebook is how to contact the office. We don't provide legal information. This isn't an attorney-client relationship because you reached us. But also in the clinics, in the beginning, somewhere in the middle, and usually at the end, everyone's reminded that this is a legal information only. We're not giving individual legal advice. And then give the phone number for how to contact our office. We put that in the chat as well. So perhaps even to some, it may be ad nauseum how many times we tell them. We do, beginning, middle, and last, just depending on what type of brain you have for when you remember it. So we make sure that they're aware of it, and we have it noted in the chat or anything in Facebook.
All right, that sounds good. So we're coming up on 3 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for your time, and thank you to everyone who is able to attend. I do want to let you know that if you want to join us next Tuesday, we are doing the second Tech Tuesday also at 2 o'clock on August 11th. So I put the link for that in the chat if you want to register for that. And there'll be another one on August 25th. Again, the CLE number is 4116, and that's approved for 1 technology CLE credit. We are going to do breakout rooms, so I thought we would give everyone a 5-minute break to go grab your coffee or whatever you need to do. And then if you want to join the optional breakout rooms, come back at 3:05 and I'll get everyone broken out into those rooms and we can do a little bit of virtual networking. Thank you guys
Yay.
for presenting. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right, see you back at 3:05 if you want to join the breakout rooms.